All right, happy August. Because there was a full moon yesterday and the weather that we're facing, I figured it might be good for us to experience a different type of practice. Usually we would do something sort of a sun salutation, but we're going to do a moon salutation tonight. But we're going to start off in a nice little seated, comfortable seated position and just work on our breathing, our pranayama. So find yourself a nice, comfortable seated position. You can sit on a block, cushion, a blanket, or just on your seat. Just feel your sista, making a nice, perfect contact there, and place your hands on top of your knees and just bring your elbows back. Feel your shoulders broaden. Have the crown of your head toward the sky. If you like, you're more than welcome to close your eyes. And then just feel the expansion of your breath as you inhale through your nose, feeling your diaphragm fill up, pressing into your belly as it rises. And as you exhale, just feel it slowly relax. For moon, for yin, you usually are thinking through breathing through your left nostril. So in this case, usually when we do nadi breathing or alternate nostril breathing, we use our hands, but I'd like for you to see, imagine in your mind, you're breathing in through your left nostril and exhale through your left nostril. And it's okay if it doesn't really happen, but I just want you to bring that awareness to the left nostril. Continue breathing there. You may have a dominant side that we breathe through, but this may not be your dominant side. You keep struggling, and if you need to switch to your right side, that's completely fine. But again, just some awareness toward that left nostril. As you breathe here, can you sense the rest of your body? Can you relax your shoulders and your jaw if by chance you may have been tightening it somewhat and tensing it? Relax your forehead, the brow, space between it, to continue breathing. Set your intention, what you want out of today's practice. Perhaps inviting that sense of cooling, relaxing, not forcing, just reflecting, receiving, accepting. Now we're going to slowly make your eyes open. Inhale our arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring our hands to heart center. Get onto our hands and knees. All right. Let's actually stand in the middle of your mat. So we're going to do our moon salutation. If you're standing, and you could be standing kind of like if you're facing your screen, you'll be standing with either your feet are going to be touching toward each other, or you can keep it at hip width apart, whichever feels most comfortable. So I would say kind of be toward the center of it. So instead of usual for most yoga practice, we're usually at one side of the mat, the top side of the mat, we're usually facing the top. In this case, for the moon salutation, we're actually on the horizontal plane of it, and we're facing toward on the screen. So we're going to inhale our arms up. Interlace your fingers, palms to each other. Interlace your fingers and leaving your index finger up toward the sky, kind of like a little temple. Inhale here. As exhale, kind of go over to your right side. Standing crescent. Inhale back to center. Exhale over to your left side. Inhale back to center. We're going to go into Konasana. So we're going to take a step with your left foot. Bring your hands down to goddess pose. So check your feet. Your knees come out toward your toes. So your toes are going to be spread out slightly at an angle. You don't have to go deep. Goddess pose. Inhale as you straighten your feet, straighten your arms. We're in our 5-pointed star pose. Feel that strength of your star. Now we're going to lean over, point your left finger away from you, kind of reach over to your left side. Take over into our triangle pose. Rotate your palms toward the screen and then let it pivot downward. This is our triangle pose. Konasana. Now we're going to rotate that right heel behind you. Your hips and your hips are going to be now pointed toward each other, square toward your left side. We're going to bring our hands in front into our pyramid pose. You can stay here, or if you want, you can lower it down. Keep your back nice and straight. You're going to feel the hamstring stretching. For people that prefer, you can always use blocks to hold on to it. Keep your spine nice and straight. Keep your head, circle spine nice in alignment with it. As you exhale, bend your left knee, bring your hands down, drop your right knee to the ground, so we're into our little low lunge. Now, as you slowly rotate your left foot toward the screen, we're going to raise your right leg and drop the heel down. So we're going into that little split, half split. I know, right? You feel like we're playing Twister? We're into that half split. Again, you can use blocks to kind of help you up. Slowly, carefully bend that right knee, slowly walk toward the center, going into that goddess pose again. You're really going to feel those quads working. We're going to drop to your left. We're going to the split on this side. So dropping your, bending your right knee, dropping your left heel, raising up, you're going to that half split. This time you're going to bring your hands down by your right foot, drop your left knee down, you're going into that low lunge. So this time your right knee is over that right ankle, your left knee is behind you. Really feel your hip, your left hip flexor open up. Same sense awareness of your body. Not trying to force anything, just let it receive. Now we're going to lift your left knee up. You might want to drop it in. And as you straighten your right knee, we're in that pyramid. So again, if you want, you can use block that helps you. Don't force yourself. Don't go a little bit too deep. The most important thing is, can you keep your spine straight? Move your breath here. This time, you're going to bring your left heel inward and you raise your left arm up. You're going to that triangle pose. You can feel yourself peeling upward. So now your hips, you're both facing toward your screen. And you're going to bend your right knee, a little bit, and then straighten your knee and straighten your arms out into your 5-pointed star. Do your breath here. We're going to bend those knees again back into goddess. As you straighten your knees, bring your hands, your feet together, bring your hands back up to the sky. Light little crescent on your right side. Inhale back to center. Exhale on your left side. Inhale back to center. Bring your hands back down to namaste. So you can see how we kind of went through both sides. We're opening up the hips, feeling, even though we're not moving hard, you notice you're getting to be opening up the channels, opening up the energy. So now we're going to do the other side. So again, bring your hands back up. Inhale your hands back up after mountain to your standing crescent. Exhale to the left side of your crescent pose. Inhale back to center. Exhale to your right side. Inhale back to center. Bring your arms out into your goddess pose. So take a step up, start bending your knees. And can you sense that nice straight back? We're not saying you're trying to tuck in your tailbone necessarily. Inhale as you straighten your knees, straighten your arms, nice strong 5-pointed star. You're going to rotate your right foot to face toward the right side of your mat. You're going to lean your right fingers toward that side and then rotate your palm and then go into triangle pose. And when you sense your triangle pose, can you feel your left hip? Maybe it might be trying to go forward. Can you bring it back so it's in alignment with your right hip? Now, as you drop your left hand down toward your right, rotate that left heel further back behind you, and then you're leaning forward into your pyramid pose. You don't have to go very deep. You can feel yourself right hip and left hip tries to square to each other. You can feel the little drawing of your hamstring. Inhale here. For those that may feel like they want to go deeper, you can always exhale and perhaps go a little bit deeper, but again, no forcing. As you inhale, bend your right knee, drop your left heel and knee down into our little lunge. Again, check your positioning. Is the right knee over that right ankle? Breathe here, just feel what feels good in your joints, perhaps your muscles. Allow your breath to connect to the body. The body gives signals back to the breath. Now this is where we're going to straighten out left knee and we're going to rotate toward the mantra and have your right knee bent. So we're into that half split. Here. And then as we carefully bring your hands over in front of you, start straightening that right knee and then bending that left knee. We're back into goddess pose. You can be low goddess or high goddess, whatever your choice is. Now we're going to slowly move over to your left side as you straighten your right knee. We're going into that half split. And I know this is pretty intense on those hips, you guys, and also the legs, stretching the leg muscles. Now you're going to walk your hands over to the left side. As you face toward your left knee, you're going to go into that low lunge to drop that right knee down. Your left knee is over that left ankle. And for every single move, take notice, take stock at what may be tight, what might be feeling any stress. Can you relax that area? Remember, the moon is supposed to only reflect the sun, so it's not supposed to be doing any of the energizing yang motion. This is more of a yin motion. We're going to tuck our toes, start coming up, bring your heel in, and straighten your left knee as we go into pyramid pose. Do your left knee straight, your right knee straight. Can you have your left hip and right hip squared so it's toward that back of your mat, or I should say at the side of the mat now, one end. And slight little bend of your left knee as you come up, going to triangle, and then straighten as you reach your left hand down toward the floor, toward earth, right hand goes up toward heaven, into your triangle pose. You have to reposition your right foot, nice and solid. Breathe here. Inhale, slight bend of your left knee, come back up into your goddess pose. Straighten your hands into 5-pointed star. Walk your feet in as you inhale, your arms all the way up. Inhale here, exhale to your right side. Inhale to center, exhale to your left side. Inhale, exhale your hands to heart center, namaste. All right, so that is what's called a moon salutation. So you're more than welcome to do that. You should feel pretty open, even though it wasn't supposed to be really vigorous. It's considered like hatha yoga, if everyone heard that. Hatha, the ha stands for sun, the tha means moon, and so that's the connection with your breath. So we're working more on the moon side. So with that, yin yoga is considered a moon, more feminine. So we're going to do now a yin practice. So let's get down to our mat. And this is where you are more than welcome to have props if you prefer. We already worked on our hip flexors. So if we're seated, we go into Baddha Konasana with the cobbler's pose. So the soles of your feet are toward each other. Now, if by chance you notice that you're crunching into your lower back, this is where I would recommend having your blanket, maybe a blanket folded up and sit down there. Just allow your pelvic floor to kind of rotate forward. That would help. Forward. And then keeping your spine nice and straight. If you want, just feel comfortable to really releasing. So with yin, it's really important to feel that muscle relaxing. So you can be in whatever position, and then when you feel the urge or allowing the earth's gravitational pull to pull your body down toward it, you can do that. Not using your hand to force yourself. So perhaps you're going to be folding forward, or perhaps your body wants to just stay nice and elongated. For those that want this to be a little bit more restorative, what you could do is put blocks or blankets on either side of your knees, and that kind of gives some contact to the outer side of your knees and your thighs. Yin provides an opportunity for the mind to truly settle. Imagine it like a lake with a calm, almost still like area of the water. In yin, you try to identify with where is your own edge. And that's where you finally reach the spot where your body feels like there's a little resistance. You just stay, not forcing, just allowing the body to say it may or may not want to open up. And if so, then you enter through. many times in practice, the biggest struggle may be what the mind may be going through. So if by chance that may be you, perhaps focusing on your breath, maybe back to what we were doing at the very beginning. Inhaling through your left nostril and see if it can exhale through the right nostril. If you sense tension in your jaw, perhaps open up your mouth a little bit and run your tongue from the right side to the left side, use over your upper teeth. Just allowing the tongue to go right back inside, gently resting on the roof of your mouth. If your body suggests that you may have gone a little bit too far and you might want to back up, listen to your body. If your body is saying that it may want to go deeper, listen to your body. Allow the body to speak to you versus the mind convincing. Slowly come back up, just nice and slow. Feel the sensation of your body because it's allowing that the blood circulation to go back into the area. All right, we're going to place our hands right beneath our shoulders. We're going to bring our feet at the width of your mat, and we're just going to windshield wiper them. So just dropping to one side. It feel really weird as you go internally rotated, then inhale back to center, and exhale to the opposite side. Just imagine your ball and socket joint with the femur and such. We tend to, on our daily lives, only use it in certain motions. So we're really trying to allow those ligaments, tendons, fascias to get a little bit stressed. Stress is actually good for us. It's the chronic stress, the constant stress that's not good for us. Now we're going to go into recline. So we're going to get down onto our back. Instead of doing full pigeon, I figured this might be nice. Get onto your back. And if you have your left knee is bent, we're going to lift your right foot up, right leg up, and then cross your right ankle on top of the left, of your left knee. So we're almost in that figure 4. So sometimes people call this pigeon, but we're going to keep your left foot still on the floor. So while you're here, I want you to sense where your hips are at, like where the back hip joints are onto the floor. And your lower back should not be flat, but I just want you to be aware of what your natural body tendency is. Just relax here. Now, if you are comfortable with it, you have some options. If you'd like, you can actually lift that left foot up, keeping that right ankle above it. So lift that left foot up, keeping that left leg up, your right leg still on there. You can feel a little bit more of a stretch, maybe right on the outside, kind of toward your right gluteus maximus. Everyone's a little different. If you feel like this is making you have to use muscle for your left leg, a couple options you can do. You can always go to a wall. You can always get a chair and place maybe your left foot on top of it. Or if you want, you can even draw your hand. You put your right hand between your right foot and your left thigh, and then you can do a bind. So you can either interlace your fingers here behind the left thigh. Some people may be able to even bend their left leg down and grab it on the outside of the left calf, or you can always use a strap. So again, we want this to be relaxing to the muscle. So whatever makes it most comfortable so that you enable the muscle to relax so that the joints, the fascia, the tendons, cartilage, all that good stuff. If this does not feel like much to you, it could be because we worked a lot on the hip flexors already with the Baddha Konasana and also with our Moon Salutation. So you have options. You can always use your right elbow, kind of press it against that right inner thigh, push it away from you. That's an option. You can always flex both feet, lifting that left calf so that it's parallel to the floor. You can feel how that kind of engages certain other muscles, and then try to then relax it and then see if you can work those fascia areas. And though it might be really easy to use a wall, one thing I do want to caution, sometimes when you use your left foot up against the wall, make sure you're not too close to the wall and maybe over stretch an area too soon. So this is where being more aware of your body and listening to what the body is signaling to you is important. Now slowly we're going to release your left leg, drop your left foot to the ground. We're going to allow that right leg to kind of cross over completely and extend your arms out like a T at the cross. I'd like for you to slowly drop both knees over toward the right side. Just a nice little twist. Now, as you're laying here in your twist, you can just relax. You need for the fascia right along the left hips, left glutes stretch. Now, again, if you ever feel any sharp shooting pain, numbness or tingling, that's your body's way of saying it might be a little bit too much, and just back out of it. So backing out might be having both knees come up toward the center line as opposed to coming down toward the right side. And can you relax your hands, perhaps not consciously being aware that you might have been trying to grip onto something. Again, you're invited to keep your eyes closed if you prefer, and then just maybe awaken the other senses. Tend to allow our sense of sight to dominate. This way, we could be maybe more in tune to our other senses. This might like you to engage your core a little bit, as if you're trying to bring that belly button to your back spine. Slowly bring both knees over toward the center. So I want you to check that lower back, and we're going to uncross our right knee. Plant that right foot onto the ground. And we're going to lift that left leg up, so crossing that left ankle on top of your right upper knee area. Feel this nice and open here, and you feel how one side goes maybe a little bit different than the other side. So you can stay in this position, this will be fine. Or if you want to feel that hip stretch and maybe even the glute stretch, you're invited to bring that right knee up. Go to as far as you feel that first edge. You have the option to bring your left hand and go through that figure four little triangle. And interlace your fingers. or use a strap or some type of prop to be able to connect so that you can release the muscles. Try not to strain your arms or even strain your body. Strain your arms, you may notice that your shoulders get tight, your jaw, your neck is tight. There's a lot of connection there. If by chance you sometimes suffer from headaches, it could be on that whole neck, shoulder, jaw area. Sometimes when you're sitting at your computer a lot, not realizing you're moving forward, or even when you're driving, notice what happens when your hands are at that 1 and 11 o'clock position. There's a little bit of tension right at that shoulder area, that trapezius muscle. So once you become more aware on the mat, you can translate same type of awareness when you're in other parts off the mat. And awareness is the first step. You have the option here to bring your right leg closer to you, and that's your yogi's choice. You can even bring your left elbow and kind of press your left leg, left thigh away from you a little bit more if that feels comfortable for you. You can even raise your right calf so it's parallel to the floor. Maybe flex that foot slightly, flex the left foot slightly if you want. Or just allow your body to share what it prefers at the time. And always allow the breath to help you sense what you might be going through as well. So just grow your breath, inhalation, and exhalation. In this position, you may notice or both hip making contact to the floor, is that maybe one side is making contact, the other one lifted. No judgment, but just awareness. Usually there is one side that may be more tight than the other side. Slowly, you're going to release your hands, your proper strap if you're using it. Allow your right foot to come down. As your right foot makes contact, allow that left knee to make contact with the right thigh. Keep crossing completely. Extend your arms out to that cross. Now we're going to allow both knees to go over toward the left side. Slowly, not just to release and drop, slowly allow it to release and open. And if by chance you feel like, gosh, you know what, maybe gravity or even maybe the weight of my bone from my left leg on top of my right side is pulling it down and not making too intense, you are more than welcome to place blankets or a block or a bolster or whatever underneath that left side so that it may guide it or prevent it from going too deep too soon. That's the beauty of each yogi being able to sense what the body is ready for. And again, take stock of how your hands are feeling. Are you unconsciously gripping? Can you keep it relaxed? How about your shoulders or your jaw? How about the forehead? That third eye, placing it between your brows. This time, be sure to engage your core, so you're pressing as if you're trying to squeeze that belly button to your lower back. As you feel that, you notice how your spine is starting to raise up your knees slightly. Allow it to continue to raise up toward the center line. Uncross your left leg from your right. Bring your left knee toward your chest. Bring your right knee up and hug your knees to your chest. And you might want to rock back side to side. Now, if by chance you have a block, you may want to have this block. We're going to go into a slight little bridge pose, but we're going to do this as a restorative bridge. So this time, you're going to drop both knees on, both feet, soles of feet onto the mat. And then as in any kind of bridge pose or shoulder stance, it's important for you to make sure you keep your gaze up toward the sky, even if you have your eyes closed. You just don't want to turn your neck side to side. So your knees are hip width apart, your soles, your feet, your heels are hip width apart, but closer to your body. I'd like for you to sense what happens when you slightly flatten your back into the ground. So you're engaging your core. As you feel yourself doing that, you can feel your pelvic floor lifting up. And imagine yourself pressing your knees toward away from you, lift your hips upward, and your each vertebrae slowly lifting up off the ground. So as you're lifting up off the ground, you may want to, without turning your head to the side, grab onto a block and place the block underneath your hips. So you can choose which level. You can have it at the lower half part and just stay there. It should be in that staphometer, that nice little flat triangular spot. Some people may even want to have it on the second position. And some people may even have it on the third position. I've done that once or twice beforehand, but honestly, that is only for people that really, really need that flexibility. And I think in this case, you just want to have it at the lower end or even the mid edge. So always start lower if you don't practice it that often. So if you're sitting here now on a supported bridge, you it should feel kind of comfortable. You have some option now. You're more than welcome to straighten that leg so the right heel kind of goes to the right side slightly. And I'm just going to have you do one side because sometimes it's pretty intense. So feel what happens when you straighten that right leg. You feel that lower back kind of gets released and maybe intense. If so, you might want to go to lower, go down one level. Some people may even want to straighten the left knee. You're truly a bridge, like a little rainbow. And as you're laying here, be connected to your breath. And perhaps it sounds like or feels like the ebb and flow of the water tide. And you know how the moon does affect the ocean tide. Imagine your breath just washing away any worries that you may have, anything that might be bothering you. As you inhale, it's just like bring in all that nice cleansing feeling. And as it exhales away any turmoil that you may not even realize might be within. If you did have both legs straight, I'd like for you to bend your right knee, place your right foot onto the ground, and just to kind of balance between the two. What we just did was enable ourselves to have a little bit of a back bend. Definitely more in the lumbar spine. Opening up the fascias that sits at the front, our quads. Now let's bend your left knee. Allow that left foot, so the foot may contact the ground. And as you can feel your body kind of recalibrating, rebalancing, slightly feel yourself pressing your heels into the mat, pressing your knees away toward the top of your mat as you lift your hips up off of your block slightly. Use your hand, and if it was there, just slightly remove it, and then slowly allowing one vertebrae starting from the top, make contact to the floor. And maybe just like shivering, allowing your knees to kind of sway back and forth. It doesn't have to go into full windshield wipers. They keep talking about the pending storm, but it's not here quite yet. We do know that sometimes storms occur, and it's based on the activity that's going on the sun. All right, so to stop, I'd like for you to slowly lift your head up off the ground and place your elbows on the ground behind you. So your elbows will be underneath your shoulders, kind of lifting up. And then we're going to go into that supported heart opener. So if you have a block or a blanket, towels that you want to stack up, place it underneath the area of our bra strap. So when you're ready for that, and this is one of those options. Like a lot of people like this is that fish pose. But if you feel like this is intense for your neck, and have another prop of some sort, another blanket or another block, as you slowly lower yourself down, that first block or blanket or towel can be down below. Feel what feels comfortable for your neck. So again, you can keep those knees bent if you prefer. If you still feel like you want a little bit more of a hip opener, you're more than welcome to have that in Baddha Konasana, where your soles of feet touch each other and the knees fall outward. Or you can also decide to maybe do it in the typical standard Shavasana pose with your legs straight. Many times early practitioners of yin yoga struggle with yin practice because of the fact that we are still for such a long time. And the mind may have a little bit of a challenge with being still. So this again is a way where if you need something for it to focus on, your breath. What you can imagine yourself doing is breathing up through your left big toe as if you're sipping through a straw. And just imagine it as you're breathing in, going up through your left toe, up your left leg, up the left side of your body, up to the top of your head. And as you exhale, imagine it just releasing going down the right side of your body, down the right leg, out through the right toe. And then as you inhale, you can decide to go up through the right toe, just go into vice versa. So that's one possible way to keep your mind grounded in terms of letting it get that relaxation stage, not having anything that you may have come to cross with initially. Many times, you know that the moon reflects the sunlight. And how many times do we, women, reflect the activities that are going around us? That takes a lot of energy. As we lay here, we can receive what is given to us, accept what is provided for us. Knowing that we don't always have to do. Sometimes it's just being. If your feet were in Baddha Konasana, you can slowly raise those knees up toward the sky. If your feet were straight, you may want to bend your knees. We're going to, again, slightly bring those elbows underneath your shoulders. Maybe have to lift up slightly. Remove the block or prop from underneath you. We're going to go into our final resting pose. You're like, what? I felt like that was it already. So slowly get back down. And this is where you can have the option. Sometimes your body may discover that when your head is on the ground, if you notice that your chin is jutting up higher, you may want to put a blanket or something to kind of lift your head somewhat. Sometimes it's nice to roll a towel or blanket underneath your neck to make a little cervical roll. And this is where you have the option to have a prop of some sort underneath your knees, especially if your lower back feels pretty intense, or just wants to be slightly relaxed. Or you can always just extend your right heel to the right corner of your mat, your left heel to the left corner of your mat. And as you feel yourself tucking your shoulder blades underneath, making contact with the entire back part of your shoulders, may feel flush to the ground. Your hands, your palms are facing upward toward heaven. Just keep it nice and relaxed. And because we were in different poses, this may feel really strange. So if you need to position yourself so that you feel more comfortable, please do. Always kind of change things around. Perhaps you can feel yourself flex your heels, both heels outward first, and then relax and see where your feet drop. Are they dropping outward, or are they slightly rotated inwards? So just sense maybe what your knees might have been doing. This time, as we go into your final resting pose or Shavasana, dead corpse pose, it seems really strange. A name. But if we think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Even when we go to the very beginning book of the good book, in Genesis, when creation first started, first light, and the sun, the moon was created, and all these amazing creatures. And lastly, men and women. At the very end, the last day, was the day of rest. So in many ways, as we keep ourselves busy, usually on a day-to-day basis, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of our life, we go into our final pose. When we do our end of our life, it's just the end of the life in this world, on earth here, but it is not the end of our life. So even though your physical body is completely still, continue to connect to your breath. Know that God breathed life into us through His breath. As we are just a vessel reflecting His work. Are we reflecting His will? Are we receiving His love, His grace, His mercy? With our Moon Salutation and the different poses that we did, many of the ways we talked about it before, the goddess pose, even though we know that we aren't to worship ourselves, God created us in His image. So that goddess pose, also called temple pose, is appropriate. As we create those pyramids, how are we storing the talents that God gave us? We would stretch ourselves, lunging toward those that may not know the sun. Splitting what is offered to us to others. Knowing how much God wants to heal us, restore us, shine His light on us. All so that we can spend our eternal life with Him. Until then, we come back to this world by just wiggling your fingers and your toes, rotating your ankles, your wrists, going to the opposite direction. Inhale your arms over your head. Bring your feet together, pointing it away from you. Nice stretch, as if you're just awakening. And as you exhale, give yourself a well-deserved hug, loving yourself as God loves you. Hug your knees to your chest. Might feel good to kind of release that lower back. Rotate to your right side. Lower arms underneath your head to keep yourself in spine alignment. And stay here for at least 2 breath cycles. Allow the blood circulation to re-enter. Using your upper arms, press yourself up in a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Your hands resting gently on top of your thighs, palms facing up. Feeling in your practice by touching your index finger and your thumb. Allow the crown of your head to reach upward toward heaven. As you sit here with your sits bone connected to the earth, your crown, the promise that he gave us, up toward heaven. Feel your full, deep inhale through your nose. Exhale, complete exhale through your mouth breath. Deep inhale here. Complete exhale again. One last time, another inhale. Like a nice, refreshing, cleansing wave exhale. Floating your hands together, palm touching palm, thumb resting right above your heart. Tucking your chin down toward your heart. May this practice provide you with a chance to reflect on what you're offered from the sun, opening us up to receive the love, grace, and mercy prompts to us. So after that, our Shavasana on this earth, we receive the promise for eternal life with Him. Thank you for coming. Namaste.